What's up guys, back here in the garage once again. So the main objective of tonight's video is to get these taillights out of here and send them off to a very popular YouTuber. He's gonna slap them on his truck. I won't release this video until he puts them on his. I don't want to spoil it. It's a beautiful night here in Southwest Florida. That's where I'm located currently. It's about 55 degrees outside. It is awesome. It was very cool today. Wasn't ready for it. Always catching me in my work gear here. This is our shop at our office, and I will make a video here in the future, probably near future, going over what I do for a living. Just a quick gist. Currently running our family business with my dad. We're swimming pool contractors down here in Southwest Florida. Of course, I'm gonna feel like we're one of the best down here, but we definitely are. I'll go over that in another video and kind of explain what we do, and you guys will get a little more inside look at how we make our living and afford some of these fun toys. So as far as these taillights go, I've always wanted to change the look of the taillights one way or another. I have the third brake headlights and the mirrors pretty much built all by Legends Off-Road currently, and I wasn't always a fan of the paint to match taillights. I just felt like, kind of to Dirty Max Jack's point, I've always felt like they look a little bit ricey, but I love the way they look at the same time. So I've currently come to a point where I'm ready to change something up on the truck, and this is a pretty easy thing to do. Taking these taillights out is super easy, but what I have in here currently is definitely not stock. These taillights were first introduced on the 2016 half-ton High Country and LTZ model 1500s. Of course, this truck is a 15.5, so these lights weren't even out when this truck was produced, as they came out on the 16 half-tons. But as you can see, they look sick. They almost have, it's like an L and then an upside down L, or however you want to call that. To me, it just looks really aggressive. It gets pointy up top and pointy on the sides. To me, I just love the way they look. They're OEM, they're factory, but they were not factory bolt-in. So I bought these taillights off of a truck. They weren't cheap by any means. I could have bought paint matched taillights for this price, but I just wanted something that was OEM looking, but was still very clean. Of course, I put them in the truck, ran the harness underneath, and tried to plug them in, and they wouldn't plug in. So I came to a point where I ripped them back out. I looked at the end connector on these taillights, and I compared them to the end connector that was on the stock taillights. And the stock taillights had a different connector. So then I came up with the idea of, how about I cut off the stock connector and cut off the connector on these taillights, which is pretty scary as they were very expensive. And I kind of spliced them together to put the connector off my stock taillights that came on the 2015 Silverado and put them on these 16 tails. Now, the only issue I ran into was that these LED taillights had an extra wire, I believe an extra wire or two, not 100% sure, I did this a while ago, but they had extra wires. I didn't know what they did, where compared to where the stock tails only had a couple wires. So my dad, being the genius he is with pretty much everything, having that dad knowledge, hashtag dad knowledge, he was able to help me with figuring out what does what. We figured out which wire did what, and we did it the right way, weatherproofed it, put my stock connector on these taillights, and they work perfect. The only thing I have to work through right now is I have hyper flash past 3 flashes. Now, it doesn't make sense because when I put the hazards on, they will blink perfect for however long I have the hazards on. But if I put the turn signal on, they'll blink perfect for the first 3 blinks, and then after that, they start hyper flashing. So it's pretty easy. I just have to dumb down how many volts these lights are receiving, which I planned on doing. It never really bothered me. I don't really use my blinker anyway, which I know is a douche move, but I really don't drive crazy, so I'm really not worried about it. And whenever I turn, if you just click the signal selector in the truck, not all the way down to where it stays, but if you just click it, boom, like this, and let it go down and come right back up, it will only blink the tails 3 times, and then it'll turn off, almost like if you're gonna make a quick lane change, which works perfect for me. I don't have an issue with it. But at this current time, like I said, I'm ready for a change. I'd like to switch the look up a little bit, and that's what tonight's video is about. I'm gonna get these tails out, show you guys a little more and what I actually did to these taillights to make them work, where if you have a 2015 or 2015.5 2500 HD, or even if you have a 2014, 2015 1500 and you wanna make these lights work, the module underneath the truck where these lights plug in would have to be changed to accept these lights. Now, after I got these lights in mine, my dad also loved these the way these looked, very clean, and he wanted a set for himself. So I actually picked him up a pair, got him for Christmas one year, and went to put the lights on his truck. And when I took his stock lights out, I realized that as his is a 16, even though it's a 3/4 ton, it had the same connector that these taillights come with. So his was direct plug and play. So if you do have a 16 and up Silverado, as far as I know, these will plug right into your truck if you want to get the half-ton tails. off an LTZ or high country, whereas if you have a 15 or 15 and a half, 2500, you will have to modify and change over these wires and change over the end connectors off your stock tails to these LED tails, which hopefully in this video, this will show you what I did, and this may help you if you want to go about this mod yourself. Let's get these taillights ripped out of the truck. Another quick note here, the 15 and 15 and a half 2500s do not come with locking tailgates. So my truck here, I wanted that mod when one of my buddies got a 2016 Silverado and he locked his tailgate and it locked the actual latch right there. I love that, and I wanted it on my truck. I didn't want to pay 500 bucks for stock parts to swap it over and then something not work, but there is a kit out there. I will look it up and I'll put it in the description to this video in case you have a 15 or 15 and a half Silverado. You can do this mod to your truck as well. Now, what this mod does is this allows you, as you can hear as I lock the truck, you can hear how it locks it. So if you lock your truck, you can yank this up and down and it will not open the tailgate. Now, if you have a tonneau cover, this makes a lot of sense, but if you do not have a tonneau cover, it doesn't really do much, but hey, it's still cool to have, especially if you have a tonneau cover. So as you guys can see, I got my Torx driver, I got 2 bolts here to take out, I got the harness undone underneath the truck, so I'll have these things out of here in no time. It definitely sounds a little aggressive pulling these things out. They do have this clip here and this clip here that holds them in. So when you take these taillights out, you definitely have to yank them a little bit. Same thing when you're installing new taillights or aftermarket taillights, you have to kind of pop them in before you actually get to screw them in. So let me fish out this harness here. So this connector here is the connector off of my stock taillights that allows it to actually plug into the truck. Otherwise, the end connector that comes on these taillights from the factory would not work on my truck. So as you can see here, I have 4 wires, 2 on the left-hand side, 2 on the right-hand side. And you can see here what I did. I found out which wire did what. I spliced them together. I shrink wrapped them to make it waterproof, so I never had any issues, which I never did have with these taillights. And as you can see here, there was 1 extra wire, which I did not use. And instead of just leaving it cut off somewhere and possibly corroding, causing an issue, I also cut it off and shrink wrapped it there so no water can get to that either. So if you're looking to put these taillights on your 15 or 15 and a half 2500 HD, you will need to cut this connector off of your stock taillights and splice it into the connector that comes with these taillights from the factory. So as far as the actual wires you'll have to change, you can see here that the brown wire coming out of the stock connector and goes into the other brown wire from the LED taillights. So brown to brown. We have light green to light green. We have dark green to dark green. And we have black to black. So it's fairly simple, but these taillights do come with 5 wires from the factory, and didn't know what the red one did. The red one doesn't matter because the lights work perfectly fine aside from having this hooked up. It doesn't change a thing at all. The only thing I have is hyper flash, but that's because these are LED and the truck is sending too much power for them. So I will be sending these taillights out to another big YouTuber, and I'm sure he'll make a video on them as well in the install. As you can see, did a very clean job of keeping all this waterproof. It's something that I wouldn't worry about, guys. I wouldn't worry about having to splice these wires with your stock connector. I never had an issue. These taillights worked perfect for roughly 2 years. And even my dad's, of course, his were direct plug-in. He had no issues either. So I'd highly suggest these. I'm actually sad to see these go as well. I love these taillights. The only reason, like I said, I'm letting them go is I kind of get bored with stuff, and this is something I honestly never thought I'd do, but the right circumstance popped up. Someone wants them. I got a great deal on some other taillights, so I'm making the change. So I'm gonna get these boxed up here, ship them out, and my truck will sit like this for the time being. Grandpa mode with no taillights. Nice. So that about wraps the video up, guys. I'm gonna work on getting this other taillight taken out of here. Didn't want to take up too much time showing you guys both taillights as they're both the same. My truck will be sitting here pretty much tail lightless until I get my other ones in. Hopefully they come in by the end of the week. Gio at Legends Off-Road is hoping he can get them back from the painter here soon, so I can slap in the truck. The back end is completely paint matched. I still need to do a full walk around of this truck so you guys can see what everything looks like, especially once I get the taillights back in, I get the mirrors back on. This truck will be movable again, but I will make a walk around video once I get this thing outside and the light, and so you guys can actually see it and see every little thing done to it. Of course, if you can't wait, most of you guys I know are from Instagram anyways, but I do have plenty of pictures on Instagram. I'll put the name right here on the screen so you can check that out if you want to see current pictures of it. But I will make a new video first for YouTube to show you guys what the new taillights look like, what the mirrors look like. So stay tuned. New video coming at you pretty soon with those mods in. So until I see you next time, guys, thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate every single view, every single like, every single comment. Really trying to grow this channel in case you guys want to do these mods to your truck. Try to make it in depth so you guys can see what goes into each mod. Also throw prices in there as well so you guys know what it takes to get to that level. Such as these taillights here, these half-ton LTZ tails. I was roughly $750 to get these to my door. And then I had to ruin my stock taillights, pretty much cutting the end connectors off to get them on these taillights. So you're pretty much going to ruin your stock tails. $750 in these taillights. You can find them on eBay. You can get them at your GM dealership, which is super expensive. I don't recommend that. But aside from that, everything else from this point on, I'll throw prices on it so you guys can just see furthermore on this truck, and you guys know what it costs to get your truck to this point as well. And of course, I'll give you guys my honest review so you guys can maybe live through me first in case I run into any mistakes here or there. You guys may know how to adjust your plans on what to do with your truck next. So until next time, guys, take it easy.